everybody. So I wanted to get on here. I hope everybody's having a good week. Um, I wanted to get on here because I watched the whole series today of I'm a Virgo, and some people who have been following me since I started my channel, and I want to thank everybody who has subscribed. Thank you. Are y'all getting thunder and lightning on the East Coast? No, it's been a lot lately. Anyway, I'm a Virgo on Prime Video. And at first, I remember looking at the previews, and I was like, "This kind of looks stupid." And I am anybody. This is my point about people who have been following the channel. I'm a big fan of Afrofuturism. And if you don't know what that is a genre of literature, of art, now fast becoming part of film. Basically, black people who are dealing with sci-fi world, speculative fiction, and looking at it as a way to see black people in the future, black people with certain powers, and also a critique on the very racist society in which we live. Um, but in a way that sometimes you have to really think about. And so I said, well, let me give it one episode. Right, so I'm a Virgo, stars was born in Cootie. I was like, Cootie, like you got the cooties? How they do that? All right, but his Cootie slash Swamp Monster, that's his name, Virgo. Um, it's this boy who's born big. Okay, he's born like freaking the size of a second grader, but his aunt and uncle essentially raised him. His mother, um, I'm sure if there's a second season, we'll find out about her background. But they keep him in the house. Like he does not go to school like regular kids. He doesn't have friends. Doesn't go to the playground, and they keep telling him like, "Look, the world is not ready for you." And they say when he's 21, he can leave. He'll be prepared, so on and so forth. So a lot of his interactions are only with his, aunt and uncle who are his parents, um, and what he sees on television, right? So he learns like, his "fuck you, bitch, I ain't the one," stuff like that, like the colloquialisms or whatever. And he accidentally comes into contact with a neighbor, a Mexican American neighbor, and he's like, "Oh, that's what you look like," or whatever. And the thing is, they keep him in there. He ends up breaking out at like 19. He wants to see the world, and other kids are interested in him. But it's also, as I watch it now that I'm thinking about it, it's really a metaphor for how a black parent tried to raise and protect black boys in a society where people are hostile. Okay, and we know this. We've seen it, whether it's Tamir Rice, whether it's Ahmed Aubrey, whether we're just watching, a kid on TV be handcuffed. And it's a metaphor. The world's not ready for you. People are going to be scared of you. And they're trying to protect him from it, right? Now, you see this 10-foot tall black boy, and as we're watching the story, he's essentially really innocent in other ways, right? But people see him as this big sort of monster. Mike Epps plays his father, and Mike Epps is like, look, people are soon enough, now that you've broken out and that you know who you are, they're going to try to use you. They're going to try to do this. And I think, and this is just me, like Bruce Riley, the producer of it, may mean something completely different. But one of the things that stood out to me was this constant need to protect him and his 10-foot tall black boy, right? This is be bogus. That's why it looks so stupid to me. But in the imagination of white people in particular, and black people who've internalized racism about black men being scary, right? What they see, meanwhile, it's this innocent boy who's been sheltered the whole time, and the world is looking at him as something strange, something odd. Anyway, like in all these kind of things, he makes friends. So there's two black boys, and it's set in Oakland. And he has two black male friends and a gay black female friend. And as I watched, I was like, oh, is this gonna be one of those movies where we have, while this is central, yeah, sure, to see a young black man in this metaphor that exists, we're not gonna really see black women's characters developed outside of the mother, who loves and takes care of him, you know. And I was like, well, it's believable, right? That a gay black girl would fit more realistically, right, with two male friends. Her name is Jones, and then it's Felix, and then it's Gay. And this is his group, right? And they're like blown away by him. They introduce him to weed and all this other stuff. They introduce him to sex. It's like crazy, but he ends up being used by like this sort of like white corporation who wants him to model, who wants him to be like a thug, and he has no idea. Like he doesn't see himself as a thug. He doesn't see himself as this. But his father basically says to him, like, look, if you want certain things around here, if you want to be able to do this and that, you need to have your own money. I'm not paying to feed you, so on and so forth. And then you come in here telling me you want to do this, so you go out there and make a living. And so they do use him. He's known as the swamp monster. People are scared of him. Sometimes they know he's going to show up. And he has this fascination still because, like many people, even once you get older, you still enjoy comic books, right? And with this guy named the Hero. It's a white man who is considered the hero. He's the super hero in this film. I mean, in this series, in a way we're not used to it, right? Because the critique is he is a white man who believes in law and order. We already know those are code words for locking black people up, okay? Shout out to Richard Nixon in the 1970s and Ronald Reagan and everybody else who says law and order, which is always going to be code for more black people to get locked up when they push back against a racist society. Anyway, so the white superhero, but he's been, sheltered. He likes the hero, and he's always wondering this, and he looks up to him. And the hero is essentially a white man who, yes, has the superpowers, but also has the world, like a certain tight knit team in which they try to produce certain kinds of propaganda that basically participate in the suppression and oppression of black people. And Cootie, who's friends with Jones. Jones is like the lesbian black character who actually does a really good job. The one thing I really enjoy about this series and a lot of other series is when I'm not somebody who really memorizes the actors' names, but I remembered I think his name is Jerome from When They See Us, and I just thought his acting was incredible. I thought it was so on point. It really was just excellent. And till this day, I have like in my head when I realized, and I looked him up and I'm like, he's like 25. Wonderful. We're gonna get so much artwork from him because I mean I've said this before. I don't think millennial actors are good. Like I don't. Jonathan Majors was to me the good millennial actor, and pending, okay. Anyway, but Jarrell Jerome did an excellent job, and then he's a girl in it, and she also these are black people with superhero powers, right? So he hasn't really figured out yet. It's his height, his ability to push people away, protect the people around him, and it's also seen as a threat to the larger white society. So much so that once he gets this visibility in Oakland and around the country, they really start building a 10-foot prison because they said when they saw him and he, you know, did something that a white person didn't like or the other white person didn't like, they were like, we don't have a prison that can fit him, so we can't put him in anywhere. Um, so they built one to accommodate a 10-foot tall black man. And, you can see the metaphor. Like, they'll find a way to lock you up. They'll find a new way to control something, like blackness, um, in this very society we live in. And I appreciated that kind of critique. And without it being, I can just enjoy it. I keep saying 10 foot tall. It's 13 feet tall. He's 13 feet tall. That's what I mean, like awkward. But anyway, he meets this girl, who's a young lady like himself, and she, I thought, was an excellent actress. Um, she plays the young black girl. Her name is Flora. But Flora also, we can see this weird stuff. She worked at a burger joint, and apparently she processes things incredibly fast. Like she's just incredibly smart. She's incredibly quick. She works at a burger joint. She wants people to do organic, healthy food, so on and so forth. Um, and she meets him, and they're both like superheroes, and they fall in love. And there are so many awkward scenes of them having sex. Because he's trying to figure it out, and his friend Felix is giving him like, the talk or whatever. And he was like, look, whatever you do, just don't come too quick. Then they would call me 5 Minute Felix. And Cootie was like, why would they call me 5 Minute Felix? And Felix was like, the word of the heart, right? He was like, just when you really get ready to like bust a nut, just start going Raiders. I still know what that is. That shit cracked me the fuck up. Anyway, so his friends, kind of teaching him how to be in the real world. And Jones, her character, she is talking about racialized capitalism and things I have said over and over again, which I appreciate them articulating in this to a younger audience they need to know. The problems with capitalism only works if people are impoverished. So they lower wages and the rich are constantly getting richer and the poor are constantly getting poorer. So when people say I'm a capitalist or communism is terrible, yeah, you know what? Maybe the examples you've seen of communism are such, but the bottom line is we are impoverished. There are a lot of people impoverished in this fucking country, living paycheck to paycheck, not because companies can't afford to pay them a living wage, because they choose not to. The very system itself has been very honest from the gate. Everybody can't be rich. So this whole idea that all you have to do is start a business and you're just not using your energy right, all of that's propaganda, y'all. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. It's just like believing that what you love is automatically going to lead to money. It won't. I'm a teacher, I know. But, other forms of fulfillment, but they tend to drive that narrative with poor people, so they blame themselves for being poor as opposed to looking at the larger system. And Joan's character is really important. And like I said, it's not his sport. So this director, Bruce Riley, really did a good job at bringing on a cast that was believable. Like you see like forced black characters, like they feel like they have this person, that person, another person. Um, the Flora character, along with Cootie, two black superheroes, two black quirky black people who were smart and still had chemistry on screen. That is very hard to pull off. Okay, because I think the average audience is not used to seeing quirky black people, and they exist, and I know someone of them. But to be able to see it done well, I just love it. I love the imagery, the awkwardness at times. But anyway, his friend named Scat, Scat, Felix, Jones, they look out for Cootie and try to teach him things, but Scat gets um, essentially dies because he cannot get help at a hospital after being um, stabbed. Nobody would take him. He didn't have the right insurance, or they want to make him fill out the papers, and he's like, I'm bleeding to death. And next thing you know, the police are involved because he looks like he's appearing to be violent. And Jones loses it. Felix loses it. Felix is just having a complete break. He's mad at Cootie for not doing more. He is like Jones. If he wasn't so worried about communism, then you could help us. And they just all have all the emotions that go through when black people deal with that kind of violence against us. And they know it's based on racism and capitalism, classism, and there's nothing you can do about it, so it kind of turns inward, right? You get mad at your friends because they're excessive, right? You have to fight the police, and you know it's good. And the next thing you know, Cootie is just like they're sitting around planning about how they're going to fight back. And Cootie's aunt and uncle, his parents, people that raised him, apparently have these superhero powers, right? Like it's setting up for a second season, and I am so here for this shit. Anyway, Cootie comes into contact with this white hero that he's been looking up to in his comic books, and he talks to him like, I've looked up to you all this time or whatever. Next thing you know, that he had him roped up, handcuffed, and Jones comes out of nowhere and starts trying to reason with Hero, and says, look, this is what you're doing. This is the way capitalism is affecting the daily people. This is the way all of this stuff is racialized. And it was done really well. It's the kind of thing I'm going to watch this series second, probably 30 times. I'm that kind of person to stuff. There's a lot of layers to it. And responding and critiquing the police. And like I said, it's not forced. It's done really, really well. And so I wanted to get on here, one, because I enjoyed it. Two, I want to encourage you to watch it. Open yourself up to. I know Afrofuturism and black fiction is not something that we've been conditioned or even know about. Octavia Butler is the godmother of it all. But black people have been writing themselves into the future for a long time. And so when I see things like this, I like to support it and I like to tell people about it. I think it's good. Any of the reviews, I saw something like 6.8 out of 10, and I was like, okay. People are not used to seeing black people like this. Yes, we want a second season. I want to support it, and I hope you do too. Anyway, if you've seen the drop down in the comments, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to y'all soon.